People are injecting peptides they bought online into their bodies without really knowing what's inside. Some of these peptides work so well, they're already changing medicine. And at the same time, people are buying versions of them online with no real idea what they're taking. So the question isn't, do peptides work? It's, why are these two worlds happening at the same time? Hi, I'm Dr. Neeraj Patel. I look at health trends and figure out what's actually true. Peptides are basically tiny pieces of protein, and your body already uses them to send signals. Think burn fat, build muscle, release hormones. So the idea sounds simple. What if you just inject the signal? That's why people are excited, because this isn't taking vitamins. This is directly controlling biology. And in some cases, it's actually true. And millions of people are already doing this. Some peptides are very real. The biggest example, GLP-1 drugs like semaglutide. They reduce appetite, they change metabolism, and the results are not subtle. Weight loss, blood sugar control, even heart health benefits. This is real medicine. But here's where things start to split. Because most peptides people are using are not this. And this is where I'll give you the medical reality. There are about 80 to 90 peptide drugs that are actually FDA approved. Things like diabetes medications, hormone treatments, with real use cases. But the peptides you see online, most of them have little to no good human data behind them. For example, some of the most popular ones for recovery and healing have only been tested in animals or very small, low-quality studies. So we don't have clear answers on how well they work, or what dose is correct, or what happens long-term. And in medicine, that matters more than people think. Because once something is injectable, the margin of error gets very small. A lot of peptides online are labeled research use only, which sounds scientific, but it really means no guarantee on purity, no guarantee of dose, no guarantee of what's actually inside. And independent testing has found that some are underdosed, some are contaminated, some aren't even the right compound. Now, some people still do get results, but that creates a dangerous illusion. If it worked once, it must be legit. But that's not how biology works. That's how gambling works. If you like breaking down what's actually real versus hype and health, subscribe. It's what we do here. This isn't just science. It's a business model. Peptides are relatively cheap to make, but they can be sold at very high prices, especially when they're framed as longevity, optimization, anti-aging. Clinics bundle them into subscriptions, influencers promote them, suppliers scale quietly in the background. And here's the key. The more confusing something is, the easier it is to sell. And here's something most people don't realize. This whole space is starting to get even tighter. Regulators, pushed in part by people like RFK Jr., are moving to treat a lot more of these peptides like real drugs, which means less legal compounding, more manufacturing rules, and fewer places to get them safely. So the easy access people have right now, we're probably at the peak of it. And when supply tightens like this, things definitely don't disappear. They just move underground. But none of that is the real problem. Most people think the risk is side effects. And yes, that does matter. But the bigger risk is this. If you think you're running an experiment, but you're actually running multiple unknown experiments at once, unknown dose, unknown purity, unknown long-term effects. So even if something works, you don't know why. And you can't reliably repeat it. That's not optimization. That's guesswork. So are peptides the future? In some cases, yes. We're clearly moving towards more precise biology. But right now, there are two completely different worlds. One is regulated, studied, and proven, and the other is fast-moving, under-regulated, and driven by incentives. And most people don't realize they're mixing the two. Most people think this is about peptides, and it's not. It's about something bigger. The gap between what science knows and what the market is already selling. And right now, that gap is where most people are making decisions. And most people don't even realize that they're in the gap. See you in the next one.